Our people and our environment are sick, and tonight with us is Karen Feridun of Berks County from the Better Path Coalition, who will speak to environmental devastation that we face in the Commonwealth.
Thank you. My name is Karen Feridun. I'm the founder of a grassroots organization called Berks Gas Truth, where we have fought in our own communities to stop pipelines and power plants, but we've also worked statewide, nationally, internationally. Thank you. But what you just heard is exactly why I'm here, why we fight. We already have heard such problems this evening, and you just heard about a power plant disproportionately affecting a community that really can't handle it. Nobody needs to be contaminated and polluted in their own communities, and yet that happens all the time. And it's only going to get worse, and it's only going to spread to all of us. And so I wanted to talk about last month and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, when they announced that we only have 12 years left to mitigate the worst effects of climate change. And what that means is that we've already raised the Earth's temperature 1 degree Celsius over its pre-industrial level. And that if we allow it to keep climbing any higher than another ½ degree, we will have passed a point of no return, and the planet will become an increasingly difficult place to live. It is our best hope now because climate changed. This past summer, we saw extreme weather events across the globe, and not just wildfires in the Pacific Northwest, but we saw them above the Arctic Circle. In Pennsylvania, we were battered by a series of flooding rains. The well-known climate scientist Michael Mann, who teaches at Penn State University, was asked by PBS NewsHour if this is the new normal, and he said no, there is no new normal. It's just going to get worse from here. It doesn't have to be that way. We still have time to walk back from the climate precipice. But in order to do that, we need to take drastic action to transition from fossil fuels to clean, renewable energy. In Pennsylvania, I'd argue that we need to do more. We need to stop producing greenhouse gases. Now that might sound like a given. After all, doesn't transitioning to renewable energy mean that we'd no longer be producing greenhouse gases? No. Pennsylvania has been a major energy producing state from the beginning. Oil and gas and coal extraction that have been fundamental to our state's identity, that they're actually memorialized in the rotunda, on paintings in the rotunda in a few blocks from here. That reliance on oil, gas, and coal have contributed to the 1 degree temperature increase that has put us in this dangerous position. Generations of Pennsylvanians have already suffered the profound impacts of the pollution that came with all of that energy production. For more than a decade, the pollution has come in the form of shale gas extraction. When Governor Rendell opened the state to fracking, only 6 peer-reviewed studies had been done. Now there are more than 1,300. And much of the data in those studies comes from right here in Pennsylvania. Data that point to a wide variety of health impacts, including low birth weight, high-risk pregnancy, endocrine problems, respiratory problems, increased rates of cardiac and neurological hospitalizations, migraines, skin rashes, and certain cancers. And health impacts are just part of the story. Contaminated water, polluted air, earthquakes, explosions, fires, lost property value, noise and light pollution, increased traffic accidents, and increased crime are just some of the other impacts communities across the Commonwealth have experienced and continue to experience. So why wouldn't transitioning to renewable energy stop all of that? Because your state government, the same government that has bent over backwards to enable this industry at every turn, is now opening the door to the next generation of greenhouse gas extraction, not the methane that is natural gas in its raw form, but ethane, the greenhouse gas at the heart of a new petrochemical boom coming to Pennsylvania. Ethane impacts climate in 3 ways. It's a greenhouse gas. It helps the formation of smog, the 3rd biggest contributor to warming after carbon dioxide and methane. And it extends methane's life in the atmosphere by gobbling up the hydroxides methane needs to convert to carbon dioxide. And that's a big deal because methane is an extremely powerful greenhouse gas. Right now, ethane is being shipped via the Mariner East pipeline to Marcus Hook on the Pennsylvania-Delaware border, where it is exported in what are called dragon ships to Scotland and Norway, where it is processed in what are called cracker plants to make single-use plastics, like grocery bags and dry cleaning bags that pollute the ocean and kill aquatic life. Your state government gave Royal Dutch Shell $1.65 billion in tax breaks to build a cracker plant right here in Pennsylvania, in Beaver County. A short time later, Governor Wolf commissioned a report that concluded that Western Pennsylvania can support 4 more cracker plants. Communities have fought back, whether it's another gas well, an injection well where fracking waste is injected, a natural gas pipeline, a power plant, or a cracker plant. Pennsylvanians are resisting. Ellen Gerhardt, a retired school teacher, just spent 2 months in prison this summer because she tried to protect her property that was taken from her by eminent domain against the Mariner East 2 pipeline. As she put it to the press once in an interview, and as others have put it, she resists because she has no choice. In fact, Pennsylvania state legislature was very close to voting on a bill that would criminalize pipeline protest. Pennsylvania's flooded legislators' offices with calls and emails, and the bill was never put to a vote. But that could change. Pennsylvanians like Ellen feel like they have no choice but to resist because they've already done everything they can to work within the system. They're model citizens who show up at public hearings, they meet with legislators, they write letters, they submit comments, they vote, yet they've been ignored. And that's why earlier this year, frontline communities and grassroots organizations came together to form the Better Path Coalition. We're determined to forge a path to clean, renewable energy future for Pennsylvania and to end the petrochemical boom and to make a more responsive government. We have 12 years. That's only 4,380 days, and we can't waste a single one. And that's why we're so happy to be part of this tonight. Thank you.